So today I was going to cover quickly. Basically, what I was going to go over today was your stereotypical, basic, you know, diet that people go through multiple times through the year. Over what Precision Nutrition, as me and a certified health coach, what Precision Nutrition teaches us as coaches to get people in the right direction when it comes to diet and exercise. So first and foremost, when it comes to a typical diet, most people will go from one day from having, let's just say a typical amount of calorie intake will be anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day easily. So basically meaning that person's already in a caloric surplus. They're already slowly gaining weight over time, and so over let's say 3 to 6 months they gain a little bit of weight. Let's say 5 or 10 pounds or whatever, because they've been yo-yo dieting. The typical diet consists of you going from being completely sedentary to trying to exercise as much as humanly possible, from doing probably 1 to 2, maybe 3, 4, 5,000 steps a day to doing 10,000 plus because you want to hit that perfect 10,000 steps. It goes from eating out every day of the week to you making every meal of yours at home, and it also involves basically taking all your regular time meals or like drinks and switching them out to waters, sweetened waters, flavored waters, low calorie coffees and all that stuff. And see, this is the problem. Right there is exactly the issue why those diets fail, is because they're going from one extreme to the very next extreme. And for that specific thing right there is why every freaking diet fails. Every freaking diet fails because why? You go from being super sedentary, eating out every night of the week, basically choosing high sugary drinks, foods, and everything like that, to go to all homemade meals, working out every day of the week, trying to get 10,000 steps in, trying to make sure that you're going to the gym for at least 60 to 90 minutes a day, and prepping all your meals and drinking, and basically putting yourself going from, let's say, 3 to 5,000 calories a day to possibly 1,500 calories to possibly 2,000 calories a day. So you're doing this dramatic change in your diet that's going to destroy you, mess with you mentally. It's going to destroy you mentally because why? Because that's what happens. Everybody does yo-yo dieting, and that's exactly what yo-yo dieting is. When people do it 2, 3, 4 times a year, and they constantly go into the gym for anywhere from a month to 2 months, maybe 3 months, they don't see results and they crash because they can't handle the overwhelmingness. Now, when it comes to precision nutrition training, it's completely different. When we are hired to basically help someone out, we find out what their day's like. We tell them for a couple days we don't want them to change anything about what they're doing except for basically just to calculate everything. So that means we want you to start to, when you go to breakfast, if you do a drive-through, I want you to figure out what the calories are, put them into MyFitnessPal, and track your steps, still track literally everything, so that way we have an idea of what you're doing from that one to maybe a full week's worth of tracking, so that way we understand where you're at. Now, instead of the basic where people go from 10,000 steps or from 2,000 steps to 10,000 steps a day, or from going from all eating out every night of the week to eating or to making every homemade meal, we make small changes. So maybe the week after they've tracked, we look at their progress and we say, so what we want you to do is we want you just to go from 2,000 steps to 5,000 steps. That means for lunch or for a break, we want you to get up and go walk, because then that way you're going to have small ways of making big changes. Same with your meals. I wouldn't want someone to change all their meals. It would be one day of the week. I don't care if it's what you choose every day of the week. I want you to take one meal and make it yourself. Just one meal. That doesn't mean every day of the week I want you to make all 3 of your meals just so that way you feel better about yourself. No, it's about making one small change. That way you can do that first and then maybe work on another meal later. Maybe throw in a snack in there that's going to be better for you. Another thing that we may end up doing is asking you, instead of going out for 3 different drinks, so maybe 3 high, like maybe your morning coffee is a high sugar one, maybe your lunch is a big ass soda, and then for your nighttime you have yourself a big shake from a big shake from McDonald's. So what we would want you to do instead is we want you to take one of those high calorie sugary drinks, and we want you to replace it with water, or like a flavored water, something that's going to you'll be able to handle, but it won't be that giant caloric load on your body. But that is making those small changes. That way, over that week time frame that person is making those changes, they're not feeling overwhelmed. They're not feeling just completely beat up because they might ask why am I not going to the gym. It's like the first point is not to go to the gym and beat your ass up, just so that way you can feel better about what you've done to yourself those last 3, 4, 5, 6 months. The idea is to make small changes that equal big results. That way you're able to make more positive long-term healthy outcomes or lifestyle changes within that. So let's say a year from then, let's say that person was eating out every day of the week. Instead, they now enjoy making their breakfast. They now enjoy having their lunch and their dinner already pre-prepped, or they enjoy maybe making themselves a lunch, and then when they get home, they enjoy making themselves dinner. And two, maybe they now what they do is, instead of that high sugary breakfast, they make their own they make their own coffee, and maybe, for instance, this first thing in the morning, they go for a walk just to get themselves some walking, or two, they go to the gym when they in that morning time frame, and then maybe later in the day, for instance, when they're at work, maybe they take their pre-made lunch that they made for work and they go on a walk, so that way they can get some extra steps in for that day, and then maybe for dinner they'll have a nice dinner, and then they go for a walk even after dinner, because why? You made those small changes that equal big results. The idea is not to overwhelm someone and destroy someone mentally by giving them 15 things in 1 week to change. It's about giving them two or three small changes that they choose to stick with, and then basically they keep in contact with you over what they're doing, so that way they have that little bit of positive reinforcements by their coach. Now, see, the thing is for me, if I find out, maybe, for instance, as a client ends up breaking down and eating a whole bunch of carbs in one meal, I'm going to say, that's just that one meal. Tomorrow morning, change it. Tomorrow morning, get yourself back on track. Don't be doing that and say, oh, well, this is going to be my reason to just derail my entire progress and just give up. Having a coach is about having someone that's going to sit there and talk to you, say, hey, you made a mistake. You chose to make that mistake. That's fine. Now, all you have to do is tomorrow, change it back up. Change it back to where you're back in progress. This is what being a precision nutrition coach is about making those small incremental changes that make big results. And see, for me, that's why I enjoy being a coach, is because unlike most programs and most people, I don't have a cookie cutter approach. I'm going to make sure that my client is taken care of. I'll be available whenever they need it to make sure I can help reinforce the fact that, yes, they may have screwed up, but they can always change. They can make better choices. They can improve themselves. So the factor is that's all you got to do, is just realize that being a true coach, and not just someone that's just going to sell you on a program or sell you some BS, we're going to break you down so that way you understand that there is a way to make things work, and you just have to find the right solution is all.